experience and you get trapped in that. I'm going to come back to you again in a second. I just want to describe the Dark Tetrad. It sounds really ominous, this. The Dark Tetrad. The Dark Tetrad is an extension of what was originally called the Dark Triad, and what I started calling the zombie witch doctor. The zombie witch doctor is when you get past looking for certain traits. So we know within cluster B, as the DSM defines it, which is a definition that I accept, but you don't have to. I would never, there are things that I'm like, guys, you need to accept this to get past it. The DSM, it's up to you. I like it, but there are other models. You have histrionic personality disorder, antisocial personality disorder, which is what being a psychopath is, borderline, and narcissistic. Now, with the Dark Triad, what they were saying was narcissism and antisocial personality disorder were teaming up with Machiavellianism. Machiavelli. Sorry, I'm ruining Italian there. Sorry. Machiavellianism. Do you all know about Machiavelli? And the teachings of the prince, which where the end justifies the means. This is where you have a very cold, unempathic, reptilian way of processing reality to exploit as many resources and opportunities around you with no morality whatsoever. And in certain contexts, it makes sense. You know, if you're looking at it from a military context or you're looking at it from a profit-based context, I'm afraid it makes sense. There are things about the brand of capitalism that we currently live under that do not foster empathy, because empathy is not winning the game. Making more numbers is winning the game. And that's why the world looks the way it looks right now. If everything becomes profit-focused, humanity kind of gets shoved to one side and dies off.
Can you repeat that, please?
What?
Can you just repeat that, please? If humanity looks...
I said if everything is profit-focused, humanity dies off.
Oh, is it profit like money?
Profit. The profit. Like a religious profit. No, profit with an F, not a PH. No, I didn't go religious.
No, I think it's just...
It's a different seminar.
I think I just flashbacks.
Oh, okay. It's a different seminar, that one. So when you have a Dark Triad, you have the psychopath, the narcissist, and pure Machiavellianism. Then they started saying, well, there are actually people who have narcissism, psychopathy, and borderline, or narcissism, psychopathy, and sadism, pure sadism, and they started to put it in. What it is a clinical way of saying a really nasty fucker. A bad person, very bad, very few redeeming qualities. You can hang with some psychopaths, you really can. You can be around them. In some of the literature, they'll define them as type 1 or type 2. I actually tick quite a few of the boxes for type 2 psychopathy, as it happens. We all will tick boxes for certain of these personality disorders, but my lifestyle, when I looked up type 2 psychopath, it actually mirrors what they're like. And they can be okay. They don't have to destroy everybody around them. There isn't that need to destroy everything, but they can be dangerous, they can be exploitative, and they can have impulse control issues. The other thing that isn't, I want to talk to you about, but it's not part of the literature, it's just my advice to you. It's gone out of fashion. It's something called megalomania, and that's seen as a bit dated, megalomania. But I have met characters. I used to work in the security industry for years, and some of the guys I worked for were, for want of a better term, they were gangsters, they were career criminals. And some of them, as I say, were okay. They would feature for being zombie witch doctors for many things, but they didn't have megalomania. Megalomania is what I started to think of as the Highlander principle. There can be only one. The megalomaniac believes it's me at the top or nothing. Anybody else is a direct threat and must be destroyed. That is a dangerous person to be around. Very, very dangerous. Megalomaniac, tyrannical types are, of course, drawn to positions of power in big corporations, big banks, government, that kind of thing, because that's what they feed off. That's what their psyche draws them towards. Being powerful over the people is an end in its own result. It's not for any purpose. That is the end in and of itself. When you're dealing with the Dark Tetrad, or as I prefer to call them, the zombie witch doctors, because I like saying zombie witch doctor. I say it walking around the house sometimes. I'll be making toast. I'll be like, for the zombie witch doctor. Are you talking to yourself? Yes. Why aren't you? Their main goal is to get submission. And where this came from was I could see clients describing to me tactics that were being laid against them that sounded like the type of thing you would do if you had tricked somebody into a kind of zombie-like sleep and they were waking up and you wanted them to go back. And then I started thinking about hypnosis and magic and the old stories like that. And of course there was a film called White Zombie where there was a zombie witch doctor who would drug people and they would go into a certain state, a submissive state, and then he would keep them as slaves. This is based on... People are still kept as zombies, by the way. I don't know if you know that. Zombie is a word that derives from zumbi, which is a kind of a god. And these people who are slaves living now as zombies, they believe in the depths of their being, in their bones, that they're under a spell and that they can't break it. And so they act as though it is true. In certain cultures in the world now, it's become illegal by law to put these kinds of spells on people because they work. There are death spells in law. You're not allowed, in Australia, you're not allowed to point the bone at people. It's illegal because they die. Well, if we're in the same culture and we believe it, and I go, fuck you, I'm pointing the bone at you, homie, you'll be like, oh no, I'm really thick. And then the immune system shuts down, you believe you're cursed, you're not going to eat, you're going to go into some sort of like maybe a traumatic response. It's the bone of a dead elder that you believe will have magical properties. And these things, they work. Like, so, you know, yeah. So these things are actually happening now. Like, people do live in slavery right now today because they believe they're zombies. So I could see this happening. I could see, like, the way... I look at context. So if I have a client in front of me and she says, well, my boyfriend told me that he cheated on me because I made him cheat on me, and then there's like a consistent pattern of communication. I'm looking at what's the consistent pattern of communication, what direction is it pointing in, and I was like, this guy wants her to go back to sleep. And every time it seemed like the zombie, this is not going to be a good picture, is getting up out of its little zombie grave and starting to walk around again, amazing, nice picture, dude, he gets freaked out. And he's like smacking the zombie and going, go back to sleep, naughty zombie. Because she's coming out of it. She's coming out of that trance. So when the narcissist attacks, it can be because there's weakness and they see that that's their moment to do it, but it can also be because of strength. If they see your strength returning to you, they'll attack. If you make a new friend and they think that that friend is going to re-empower you and give you back your samangat, then they will attack. Yes?
That has actually happened to me recently.